As a kid, I had limited gaming time, and my mom would enforce it. I had to play for only an hour a day, and if I didn't follow through, the next day I wouldn't get my game. Now, that's pretty simple parenting, right? It did work. I did limit my gaming time to only 1 hour a day, but that only worked until I was at the age of 12. Once I started developing more mental capability and the thought of rebellion, I wanted to start gaming more and more. I started to see that the peers I was with were gaming for 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I'm like, why can't I do that? So I tried to sneak in an extra 15 minutes, an extra 30 minutes, an hour. I would constantly look at my door to see if my mom was heading in, looking for even the slightest change of sounds in the area. And when she did come in, I quickly switched screens using the good old alt-tab method. Now this may seem extremely harmless. Of course the kid would rebel and he would want more gaming time. It's a general form of growing up. You probably used to do this too in a different scenario. The sad thing is, this form of anxiety still lives in my head to this day. Even when I'm just doing my homework, I subconsciously look back at my door to see if my mom's coming in, even though I literally don't play games anymore. You may have anxiety and not even know about it, which is the scariest part about this disease. Mental health has turned into a very cliche topic, especially when it revolves around depression and anxiety. Many people don't even know they have anxiety themselves. And if you find yourself not being able to do certain tasks, this probably concerns you as well. The people who try to raise awareness about it go tell you to seek professional help, which no one does because that's exactly what anxiety stops you from doing. And some people straight up just can't afford it. You may not think you have anxiety and think that the only thing that stresses you out is having to hit deadlines and an upcoming exam. But that's not the only type of anxiety. You probably have anxiety without even knowing it, and I have a way to drastically reduce it. But what exactly is anxiety? What are the traits of this pandemic that is silently infecting the world and killing off our presence and our mindfulness in this modern day? Anxiety is very difficult to pinpoint and describe because it originates from so many places. I personally know people who have schoolwork anxiety, and they developed it because of the amount of value their parents placed on schoolwork. If their grade dropped below a 99, yes, a 99, then they would start panicking and going into a mental spiral. Oh, you might be thinking that their parents just have high standards for them, that their parents just want the best out of them. Yes, they do. But what's happening to the child? Why are you keeping this child mentally captive for the change of a few numbers on a paper? This child would always have anxiety about their grades, and this is a good metric for getting into a top university or college, but sadly it would restrict them from doing anything else. They would prioritize school over mental health, over physical health, over eating, over sleeping, over anything just because of the amount of value they put on schoolwork. And school isn't the only example of anxiety starting. There are countless other ways anxiety can be formed. If you had a traumatic event, you would feel much more inclined to feel anxious when those cues get triggered. These small actions all add up in your day, and they contribute to your lack of mindfulness and presence. You're constantly focused on your mom walking through that door rather than trying to do your homework. You're constantly waiting for that message from your friend rather than finishing the essay that's due tonight. When in school, you wear a hoodie because you're insecure about the way you feel and look. I was in that stage one day. It's not an ideal way to live. Is there a habit you do when you feel distressed? Do you go on walks and feel scared because someone might jump out at you from the woods? You should probably chill with the horror movies. So you've probably noticed you have anxiety by now. Even if it is very, very mild or extremely severe, it is something to look forward to curing. And once you do, you'll find yourself being much more productive, much more social, much more mentally clear, and you won't have your mind wandering off when you're trying to do work, and you won't be looking over your shoulder every time you try to do work. Oddly enough, there's a very simple way to cure this. It's literally one habit that I've told countless people to start, and most of them didn't even believe that it would work. But for the people that did do it, for the people that dropped down to their ego, they had the most drastic changes. It's all about deep journaling. And this sounds a lot like bro science because it is bro science, but it can still change the way you truly see life. Deep journaling is taking the thoughts you have and putting it all down on paper. Oh, I didn't work out today. Oh, I didn't read today. You just write whatever's on your mind and just throw it down on paper. Do you feel stressed? What might it be? And then you might move on to the next topic. Oh, I felt a little sad today. Pretend this diary is a friend you tried to vent to, but they probably never listen at all. Write every single detail down about why you might feel the way you do. Diagnose the problem and see what it is. Then you'll be able to tackle it head on. The best thing about deep journaling is that as you're writing, you start to find the solutions in your head because you can feel yourself writing. There's some kind of science there. I'm not a scientist. Sometimes we come to realize that our problems are so small and minuscule that there's no way this is causing our anxiety. So after putting all of these thoughts down on paper, you will find that you already have a clear mind. The thoughts that you used to have would be drastically reduced, and you can find yourself in a much better place already. And yes, it really is that easy. The point isn't to be able to fix it all at once. There is no quick fix. The point is days to recover as fast as you can, but it will take time. So go in deep journal, go write it on a Google Doc, go write it on a paper, on a journal, because sometimes all we really need is a friend to vent to, even if they aren't listening at all.